Rolling. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Thursday afternoon, just before Friday, Monday morning podcast, and I'm just checking in on you. And as you can see, it's video, which means I have definitely a special guest. This is the only time I do these, is if the guest is special. I don't mean mentally challenged the way that used to mean, right? Back in the day, that meant special. I don't mean special like that. I mean a special mind who wrote an incredible new book that is going to be out on May 16th called Harold. I actually read the whole thing. I feel like I should have a sticker on my forehead. The legendary Steven Wright, everybody.
Thank you, Bill.
How are you? Let me get you in towards the microphone here. There we go.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. That amplifies the sound.
Really?
And gets you out to
the... I never heard of such a thing. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming out to the podcast, and I have to tell you, this might come as a shocker. I'm not a big reader, you know?
I'm not either.
I'm a big watcher.
Me too.
Or somebody tells me something happens, and I just go like, all right, that's easier than fact-checking. I'll just agree with you. I sat down. I brought this. I was flying to Ottawa, and I started reading it, waiting for my plane, and I did not put it down until I landed, and I loved it so much.
Really?
I actually started slowing down because I didn't want it to end. Like, I don't know. Have you ever finished like a video game and there's like that depression that you can't go out and kill any more zombies? I got that feeling in a literary way. This book is called Harold. It's about a kid in the 1960s in third grade, and the whole book takes place one day of his year as a third grader. And I can't even tell you.
I can't wait. First of all, it's the fact that you couldn't stop reading it is like, that's an incredible compliment. People, it's just only a few people were involved who worked, the editor and stuff read it. You're like the first person. I
couldn't put it there. Can I read anything that's in here?
Sure.
It opened right up to this because I actually have read this so many times. He remembered his grandfather telling him that there is no time, and time is moving slow and fast all at once. The kid he has a real close relationship with his grandfather, so he's sort of daydreaming a lot / ADD during his entire day at school. Time is moving slow and fast all at once, he continued. And the grandfather says, a snail is taking tiny, tiny steps on the armrest of a seat that's on a 747 cruise speed, 580 miles an hour, or the Concorde cruise speed, 1,356 miles per hour. That's your life. You're a snail on a jet. He said some people don't respect the little time they have and waste it, a lot of it, throwing their time into a wood chipper. They also destroy other people's time by being upset over meaningful fucking bullshit. Harold's mother did this all the time. And it's just like, I had to set the book down when I read that.
Really?
Because I was like, first of all, the idea of the two types of time, like how long it's taking the snail to go across the armrest while that thing, which I think is a metaphor for being on the Earth, flying through space. And then what killed me there was people wasting other people's time bitching about meaningless bullshit. I'm just like, oh my God, that's me. How much of my wife's time have I wasted going like, this fucking goddamn guy said he was going to be there at 6 and he gets there at fucking 6:30 like nothing's wrong, just an idiot. So like I really like, and the people that have wasted my time, but I kind of saw, I was like, wow, I'm sort of on both sides of the coin there. But like I really felt like this is the first book I've read since, the one that everybody had to read growing up, Catcher in the Rye. This is like Catcher in the Rye on mushrooms is the only way for me to describe it. But I actually like this character where I didn't like the character in Catcher in the Rye. Because he was kind of a hipster douche. Like when he went when he went to go see that, he snuck out, he goes down to the village and he goes to see that piano player, right? And he says, he goes, and the guy he was great at piano. And he goes, but he knew he was great.
Oh.
So that ruined it. And it's just like, no, he was great at it. He was confident. Yeah. And you knew he was going to get a bunch of pussy after it. And you weren't. So that bothered you, and rather you trying to tap into your own Burt Reynolds, you're going to resent this guy. And it also tapped into like
Your own Burt Reynolds.
yeah, and I feel like the beginning of like that sort of hipsters, nerds taking over, where they tore down the idea of what a guy's guy was, you know, which needed to be lampooned after all of the action movies and shit of the 80s. It did need to be lampooned. But they did it to such a fucking level that they acted like that guy didn't even exist. And it's like, no, that guy did exist. Like, everybody went to high school with some kid that was crushing it in sports or something, and was literally was getting celebrity level pussy.
Yeah, they're the famous people in the school.
Yeah. And they were that. They didn't have to, like, you know, go on stage and do a dance or whatever. They just were that guy. And we all, like, when I was a kid, you didn't make fun of that guy. You looked up to that guy going, fuck, I wish I was that guy. I wish I had that guy's gift of gab and everything. And that was the thing that, you know, and I also think that the movie stars that I grew up with, the Charles Bronsons, the Clints, the McQueens, and all of those guys were Lee Marvin.
Oh, I love Lee Marvin.
Yeah, I mean, that guy actually, you know, he fought in Korea, I believe. Everyone but like 3 people in his platoon died. Wow. So when this guy was in a movie with a gun going, I'm going to fucking kill you, like, he had actually done that shit. So, like, that was my idea of the guy's guy. And I feel like they started making fun of, like, the action heroes of the 80s, and they went all the way back to, like, Lee Marvin's. Like, these guys are, like, fucking war heroes. So anyway, what I like about this kid is I like that he had, you know, he's a crush on the girl Elizabeth, I believe his name is, and he's afraid to talk to her, and so much of it is like ADD, and you have like your worldview in it. Like this book, like, is like when you talk about the time, how it's going fast and slow, it's going frontwards, backwards, and sideways. This book, like, is doing the same thing.
Wow.
I feel like it's like he's in the class, but he goes on these ADD trips. He comes back, and then there's all of this, you know, that beginning of a comedian where you have all this funny shit that you want to say, but you don't have the balls to say it.
Oh, yeah, to the teacher.
Yep, and the pretty girls can't see you. And because your beautiful peacock tail is all in here, where like the kid out on the field, you know, tossing the football is just, there's a no-brainer that's the guy that they should go bang instead of you or whatever. There's just so much of that in here, and I was wondering, like, you know, how long did it I read the foreword and everything. It seems like you started to write this a long time ago, and it gradually came together. And
yeah, it took about 7 years.
Dude, I gotta be honest. I'm
not sure. I think that's funny too, but I don't. Why?
No,
why is that funny?
because you are this book, dude. You and I are in the same. We're living on the planet at the same time. All right.
Yes.
I'm on the 747, and you're the snail. You're just like, you know, it took 7 years, and how I feel like I was joking. Like, I feel like I'm in the Matrix, and I'm just and I just react to everything. Where you're outside the Matrix, looking at it with like I said to my wife like 3 times while I was reading this book, going like, this guy is operating on such a higher mental plane than I could ever even hope to get to. And like, jeez. I love how you live your life, because I like how what you do is one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time, and you have earned that, dude. You have earned that.
Thank you.
And but what you do is so public, but you are so private and quiet. And I found that the longer I've been in this business, and the bigger things get, the balance is then I just keep having like this reoccurring fantasy of being in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not even on my front porch, because I don't even want to see somebody drive by. I am on my fucking back porch, and I am just sitting there. It's funny, I'm enjoying myself and I'm slowly killing myself. Like, my wife isn't there, my kids aren't there, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm taking drugs. But I'm also simultaneously enjoying nature.
Yes.
And I'm just sort of shutting the whole thing down. And like, I love like you know, everybody back east, it's either you go to Nantucket or you go to Martha's Vineyard. no one goes to Block Island, right? And you're like, what's up with this block? I want to go where nobody's going. So I was wondering, like, how did that, is that something that, like, because, I mean, you had, like, this meteoric rise, those legendary Tonight Show appearances, just to give people the quick backstory that this has been hashed over a zillion times. The Tonight Show people came out to the Ding Ho, the first like real like official beginning of the Boston comedy scene that all you guys started, and they went down there to see, you know, Gav, Sweeney, Lenny, and all of those guys, and then you went up and you ended up being the guy they picked, and you get plucked out of this Chinese restaurant to go on the Tonight Show that got like a 30 share, like had 30 million people watching it. You go out, you absolutely destroy. He ends up talking to you on panel. You handle all of that. You blow up. You make the short film. You win a friggin' Oscar. And then it's just like you just went into like the ether. And then you'd come back and you'd be like Reservoir Dogs. You're doing the DJ voice. And then you just like your ability to like disappear and then come back and it never dips. You like your ticket sales don't go down. It's just people have accepted that this guy is gonna be like he's gonna drop a bomb every 7 years on us, and it's gonna blow our mind.
Jesus,
yeah,
that's amazing.
You're like the Sade of stand-up comedians. She comes out with an album like every 8 years, and it's still
never been in a sentence with her. Thank you.
No, the Beastie Boys are like that. I feel like Chris Rock is good about, hey, I'm out there, I'm out there, and out there. Now you don't see me, and right as you think, what the fuck is Chris Rock doing? Bam, he made a movie.
Well,
like,
there's been no plan though. None of this was planned. Like, I mean, you know, going on the Tonight Show and everything happening and everything, but then I would just write and do the specials and everything, but I never look at it like okay, I'll do this here, then I'll do this here.
Right.
You know, it was all just like, okay, it was all very fun. I never felt like a big pressure.
I'm just picturing you in like a meeting after you destroyed, and all the Hollywood guys going, we're gonna do this, and you'll get a sitcom, you'll be as big as Cosby, blah, blah, and you're kind of like, all right. And you exist on like your own time. As I think that's what I'm trying to say. What I really find the most, you know, aside from just being such a huge fan of your work, is I really envy. Like, there's a strength to that.
Wow.
Where you just feel like, you know, I finally took like 3 months off, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But there was that thing kind of gnawing at me, going like, after 90 days, are they going to forget about me?
Oh, yeah.
His 31 years of slamming my head against the rocks down the drain. You like, but then what I do is I always think of guys, you know, like you and everybody that I just mentioned that do take the time off, and they come back, and there's like a, I mean, dude, you're just this deep well, so the quality just keeps coming, and so I don't know.
But I think that when you're saying go in and out, I think you have to take care of yourself. You know, you're giving so much from your mind out to the audience. The audience is at least for me, is a very intense thing. I might looks like I'm walking around just, but it's intense. It's not a normal place, the stage. It's very, very intense, and that intensity is draining to you, especially if you're a complete and total introvert who shouldn't even be. I'm really good at something I shouldn't even be doing. It's against my. Are you an introvert person?
Oh, 100%.
But I was talking to Michael O'Brien, and he was telling me how like a loner guy you are, and like I'm a major loner, and I just think that you're gushing out of all this stuff, your imagination, out to the audience. It's so extreme, and then you gotta like replenish by being away from it.
What do you think that, like, I actually had the thought today about being a loner, and I was thinking, I was like, is that a way that you're wired before you even come out, or if you have experienced enough trauma as a kid? Because I feel a lot of my loner stuff became like, hey, you know what the advantage of being all by yourself No one can hurt me. No one can fuck with me. The bullshit ends, and I can actually put all defense things down, and I can just sit here and you know what's funny is I would do a lot of this Harold shit where I would I lived most of my life in fantasy.
Wow, really?
Yes. And a lot of the fantasies became real, where I fantasized about doing stand-up. I fantasized about, acting and, making the camera crew laugh and stuff. And I remember when I was doing, I did this sketch show, and we were doing one of these remote shoots, and I was just riffing and blah, blah, blah. And the whole time I was thinking, like, all right, there's that gnawing, like, oh my God, just don't get fired off of this gig. And when we were done shooting and everybody came up to me, I remember walking away thinking, like, oh, fuck, that was that thing that I used to fantasize. I wish I could do that. And
cool.
that just happened. But the fantasies don't just stop there. I have, like, defeated ISIS. I have solved world peace. I've been the front man to every major rock band. In my head, I know how to rap. I mean, I'm an astronaut. I'm a Navy SEAL. Like, it never fucking ends. But that all relates to, I think, self-loathing on some level of like you know what I mean? Like, you just don't think you're good enough. You don't think, like, it's like, maybe if I was if I defeated terrorism.
Yeah, if Jesus was my best friend, people.
Yeah. I would.
Wow.
That fucking. I mean, he did get a hooker, so I think I could hang out with him. But if he was just 100% a good guy, I would just be like, the entire time you'd just be reminded what a piece of shit you are, and it'd be like, listen, Jesus, it's not you, it's me. I can't be I can't be around you.
Unbelievable. Well,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. Are you born as a loner, or do you become a loner? I think it's maybe a combination. I think even being a loner, I think, is the opposite of when you're on the stage and it's so intense that you're giving out. Mm-hmm. But when you're growing up, you're bombarded by all this. What is this? The school, your parents, all this. You're bombarded so much that I think, as a safety, at least how I see it, you're driven deep into your own mind. That's your area. My area, my privacy, growing up, is my inside of my head, because the world pushed me there, and then you're in deep. I don't know. This is just
How did you relate when you were a kid? How did you relate to the world? You don't seem to me like, hey, I'll collect baseball cards like everybody else and get like a Mickey Mouse. I know you're a big baseball fan, but like, you seem like, were you always a little left or a little right of what?
I was very Norman Rockwell-ish growing up in Burlington, Mass. Little League. I had some baseball cards. Everything was really normal where I was, what I was doing. Speaking of those kids who were famous in the school, the athletes who were the stars, they were, my school in Burlington, there was a long corridor, and then there was another one going perpendicular, so it was a T. It was a T, and in between classes, when the bell would go off, those big famous guys would stand right at the end, like they're so cool, and you had to go by there maybe if your class was down here down here, and I slowly developed. I was so nervous to walk by them that I eventually started saying weird shit, saying funny stuff to them to make them laugh. And I didn't know it till thinking back on it, but I was diffusing the tension by making these giant people laugh, and I think that was a beginning of comedy in a way, as a defense. But when you, like, I just think you're deep in your head. I didn't. You're asking me, when did I see that it wasn't actually completely normal? Like, what was the
or that you're. I don't know what it is. At some point, like, I think I was always secretly kind of like that, because I gravitated towards any sort of rebellion, any sort of class clown. Like, if I had a job, I didn't want to work in the carpeted cubicle area where everybody just seemed like they were like the goody-goodies. I wanted to work out in the warehouse where people were having like fun, and there was a freedom to it. And there was also I don't know how to put it. Like, you weren't trying to get a fucking cubicle. Like, he didn't give a shit. Like, it's like, I'm doing this job because I need beer money, and I want to get like tickets to the Pats or something like that. And everybody out there either played in a band or was a lot of creative people out there, or were like drug addicts and shit. And I just would, I don't know. I always wanted to hang out with them more so than some guy with the shirt and tie, you know, talking about the whatever the fuck those people talked about.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's time for Simply Safe. And immediately you should be like, Bill, what's with the creepy fucking voice? Well, I finally got my son to go to bed, so I don't want to wake him up. All right, that's the deal. This obviously didn't happen during the Steven Wright interview. My son goes to bed in normal hours. All right, Simply Safe, everybody. You know, spring is in bloom. What the fuck is with this echo? Spring is in bloom. And you know what comes out next? Vacation season. But before you pack your bags, be sure to secure your home with Simply Safe Security. With Simply Safe, enjoy peace of mind knowing your home is monitored around the clock by trained agents. You like this soothing tone I'm doing? Ready to act to defend against break-ins, fires, and other threats. Fast Protect technology for fast response. Monitoring agents to visually verify the threat is real and conveys eyewitness evidence to 911 dispatch for fast police or fire rescue. In control from anywhere, anytime. Hey, with this stuff, with this system, with this top-rated Simply Safe app, stay connected from anywhere, anytime. Arm or disarm your system remotely. Check your cameras to make sure everything is okay. Even unlock the front door to let in a guest. I mean, that's like some Star Trek shit. Easy to set up or choose. When would he ever unlock the front door to the spaceship, Bill? All right, wrong show. You're right. Easy to set up or choose professional installation. Simply, not to be confused with the back door of the spaceship. Simply Safe ships to your door and is easy for you to set up yourself in about 30 minutes. Or, you know, minus the meltdown. Or have Simply Safe certified technicians install it for you. I'd go with that personally. No reason to wait. With financing, though, through a firm, secure your home today and pay over time in installments that fit your budget. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/Burr. That's SIMPLISAFE.com. Go today and claim your free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. That's Simply Safe, SIMPLISAFE.com/Burr. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, next up is stamps.com. You know, when every person, moment, and penny counts in your business, you can't afford to take any of them for granted. Stamps.com gets it because for the last 25 years, they've been helping businesses like yours save time and money. So you can focus on your business knowing Stamps.com has all the postage needs covered with premium discounts and great rates. A post office in your office. With Stamps.com, all you need is a computer, a printer. They even send you a free scale so you'll have everything you need to get started. If you need a package pickup, you can easily schedule it through your Stamps.com dashboard. And if you sell products online, Stamps.com seamlessly connects with every major marketplace and shopping cart. Premium discounts, all right? Running a business isn't cheap, especially when it comes to fulfilling orders for customers. Luckily, Stamps.com has a huge carrier discounts up to 84% off all USPS and UPS rates. Plus, Stamps.com automatically tells you your cheapest and fastest shipping options. Your postage partner for the last 25 years. For 25 years, Stamps.com has been indispensable for over 1 million businesses. Get to the United States Post Office or the United Parcel Service. Get access to it. The services you need right from your computer anytime, day or night. No biggie, no lines, no traffic, no waiting. What are you waiting for? This stuff's great. Set your business up for success when you get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with the promo code BURR, B-U-R-R, for a special order that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term contracts or commitments. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and select BURR, B-U-R-R.
So
the people you wanted to be with were outside of what was supposedly you're supposed to be doing.
yeah, like the first time I hung out with a group of people, I was just like, yeah, this is the group of people. I still remember I was on my second gig ever. I was at Stitches, and I was at the open mic, and it was the first time I felt like I was around the same kind of weird. Like, these guys are the same kind of fucked up that I am, and I didn't have to, because I always had to, like, you know, because I hung out with musicians when I was playing drums, and I was trying to be that, and I just always would look to them to see what they were doing, to try to, like, and how I fit in was I would make them laugh. Both playing and joking. I wasn't that good a drummer. But like, comedy was the only thing I ever did where I didn't feel like I had to look at, okay, the people that are doing, like, what are they doing? I mean, I definitely learned from watching people, but it was the first thing I think I ever did that I felt like I could just sort of, like, start walking. I didn't have to look like, how do you stand up doing this? And then what do I do, you know?
You found your, like, niche, like,
Yeah.
your thing. And I think there's two things. When you went to Emerson, I went to Emerson, the people who wanted to go to Emerson, that were automatically, the fact you wanted to go there, you weren't normal, you were off.
Yes.
So just filling out desire to go to the application, that already meant that you were a little bit off. So then you get, it's an accidental screening process. So now you have all these people who are off already, and the thing didn't even start yet. And now all your friends are weird, and that it's accentuating. Now you're getting weirder because you're feeding off. And the same thing with the comedians, all those guys at Stitches, they all decided, like, to do that because they're outsiders and describing the world, what the hell is this and all that, so then that you feel a connection, I think. That, don't you know, feel a connection to a comedian?
I just thought it was like, these guys don't have to get up in the morning and go to work. That's what I was thinking. And then they come down here, they fuck around, they get a free beer. I was just like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is legal? This is fucking legal.
This is legal.
Like, I just couldn't believe that, like, I could never get over the fact that if you were a comedian and you didn't have a day job, that you get to get up when you want to. And my whole life, up until that point, I had to get up when somebody else told me to. My parents, come on, it's time for school. I had a job. I whatever the fuck I was doing, there was just, and then for like 2 days a week, Saturday and Sunday, like, you got to feel like what it felt like to have control of your life. And even then, you know, my dad only needed like 4 hours to say, come on, get up. I don't believe in that. Like, he didn't believe in it. So he would just fucking wake you up. Like, I also had like a paper route. I had a paper route up until, like, so I always had to get up, like, on the weekends, the paper didn't have to be there till 8 in the morning. So I could actually get up at 7. During the week, it was like 6. So when I finally didn't have like a day job, and I was hanging out with all of these other people that didn't have day jobs, and it would be like a Tuesday, and they would be like, hey, man, you want to go see Dead Presidents or whatever it was, you know, it was right when I moved to New York, like 95 or something. Want to go see that tomorrow, like, you know, 2 o'clock show? Yeah. Well, let's go do that. And like, I don't know, I just feel like I've been, like, comedy was the way to get out of whatever the fuck that other thing was that I did not relate to.
Yeah, there's this whole thing of what's supposed to be happening, what you're supposed to be in. And when you're a comedian, all that you described is like you escaped. It's like you got out of some kind of, not jail, but you got out of this thing, and all the rules are different. All the requirements are different. And it's all because of our imaginations have allowed us to have a whole other thing of time, when you do this, when you do that, you know? I just feel very grateful that this whole career, my whole life is because of making things up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It comes down to your imagination, and it's just like so lucky. It's just so lucky to be doing all this and having a career of it. Like, it's fun. It's playful. Making stuff up to me is like finger painting with words. It's like kid make believe. Not that it's not hard, but it's just a joy. I also feel lucky that people connected to the humor right in the beginning, because if they didn't, I don't have another way of doing it. You know,
Right.
It was like they didn't like that. It's like, oh, well, now I couldn't like think of another way.
I always love that you didn't even need a joke. Like, you would just wait. You just walked up and got a laugh. Like, they would be like, screaming. You just go, thanks. And then a huge laugh. And then also, they immediately knew who you were. Like, oh, this guy's going to be like super super dry. But before, I'm just going to take a major left turn here, right turn,
Yeah.
because I don't want to sit here and talk about comedy the whole time. You're also a huge Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
Which I am. The season has just started here, and I always ask people this: what year did you go to the first time you went to Fenway?
Let's see. I was born in 55, probably 65, 67.
Tony Canigliaro.
Yeah.
You just started. Yeah, you just started.
Yastrzemski,
Yeah.
Rico Petrocelli, Jim Longboard.
Do you know Rico Petrocelli used to live right up the street from me when I
He
was
did?
a real little kid? Yeah, when I was a real little kid.
While he was playing?
I lived in Linfield. It was right towards the end of his career. I think he played until Kenny Hodge lived down the street from the
Wow,
Bruins, and
yeah.
Rico Petrocelli.
That must have been great to your mind to think they were right there.
I
as
mean,
a
I never
kid.
saw him or anything, but it just like blew my mind. And and everything was like, it was weird. Everything was so much smaller with just like local TV and
Yeah.
local sports, but also so any sort of celebrity was so friggin' huge. But when I was really little, I lived in like Peabody, Linfield. We bounced around a little bit before I ended up in Canton, but he was like right down the street. So George Scott, Cecil Cooper, maybe.
Yep.
They made- that was
Joe
like the-
Foy,
Yeah,
Jerry Adair,
that's one of my
second baseman.
One of my favorite. Like if I, every year we go back to Boston for a couple weeks, and I always try to take in at least one, if not two games. And it's one of my, because one of my dreams when I was a kid, this is how one of my dreams were, was I was going to live in Boston, and I was going to have season tickets to the Patriots, the Celtics, the Red Sox, and the Bruins. And I was going to go to, somehow I was going to have the money to do that and the time to go. And I was going to go to all the fucking games. And it was funny, you know what? And when I thought about it, I didn't even think about doing it with anybody else. Like in my mind, it was just like, and then everybody was going to think I was awesome because I could do that. Like that was like every one of my fantasies.
You have more going on than his.
Oh no, I totally relate to this kid. Everything that was going on, and it always like whatever the equation was, it always equaled. And then everybody thought I was awesome, so they stopped fucking with me.
Oh
So,
my God, that's great.
Yeah, so I often, like, when I take time off, I actually think of you sometimes.
Really?
Because I'll be watching a game and I go, I bet fucking Stevens, wherever the fuck he lives, is sitting right now watching every single pitch. He's not recording it. He's not fast forwarding through the commercials. He's just sitting there watching the game. I just picture you alone, like, keeping score. Which is,
keeping score.
I love keeping score. I love keeping score.
Even now? No.
No.
I mean, I
if-
did it when I was 12, 13, 14.
No, if I go to a game, I will keep score.
You really?
Like, I have to fight not being that old guy with the AM radio.
Oh, yes.
So you know, like exactly like what's.
But do they still sell the program to keep score in it?
They sell it now. They used to give it to you when you walked
but
in.
that's how it's still in there. People do.
Yeah. No, you can't. So actually, I got last year. I got when the Red Sox came down to Anaheim to play a game down there. They asked me to come down because I had a show coming up in Boston. I had to promote, so I went down there and I was keeping score. Or maybe that was when I was at Fenway. I can't remember, but I went up there and Uke was up there and everything. And he's keeping score because it's also if you're announcing a game, like it's a way that you can be like, yeah, he singled to left the last time, but blah blah. You know, you got like 18 hitters going during a game. I mean, you can't really remember like what happened to the number 8 or 9 hitter. So I kind of got a kick out of the fact that they keep score.
I was in
Also.
Fenway last Wednesday.
Of course you were. How do we think of that team?
The thing is, I don't know 85% of the names. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
but going to I wanted to go. More than half of going is going into the place. I think I wanted a fix, like a drug addict. I wanted to be in there. I watched 3 innings and then I left because
that's cool.
that was enough. That was enough. You know
You know what I miss? I miss when it was like mostly empty and you could
Well,
just.
it was empty. Oh, I
Oh,
forgot to
good.
tell you. It was more than half empty. It was
Oh,
in the
that's great.
day. It was 45 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Last week, and there was seats all around, and it was like, oh yeah, this is like before 2004. That's all
Yeah.
great. It's all fantastic.
Yeah.
But this other version before is almost nostalgic. It's like, oh, you know.
Dude, we used to drive by it, and all of a sudden there'd be a game. My dad would be like, "Hey, you want to go?" I'd be like, "Yeah." You just walk in, you know.
Yeah.
Just buy 4 or 5 tickets, no problem. You know, we'd always sit like blue seats or whatever. But like, the stadium was so small, they were always like great seats. But
And you did a show there, right? How did it feel? Like you grow up as a Red Sox fan your whole
Yeah.
life, and then you're in there doing a show. I mean, how was that?
oh, that was well, I mean, it was obviously nerve-wracking. But once I realized, you know, I was kind of walking around Boston leading up to it. It was during our vacation back there. And I just kept running into people, and they would just be like, "Hey, man, hey, good luck," and da-da-da-da-da. They were really nice, and I kind of felt like the city was behind me.
Excellent.
And when I got up there, it took about, 20 minutes, and I realized, oh, this is just going to be a show. This is crazy. And I just kept looking. I just kept seeing, it said, I was it was like I was playing center field, like left center.
Oh.
And I was facing, and I just kept looking up, and every once in a while, it would just say Fenway Park. And I would think the first time I ever went, we sat in the blue seats in right field, and there was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's Dwight Evans right there. And I was
Oh.
so hoping that a ball got in the corner and somebody tried to stretch a double into a triple so I could see that arm
Yeah,
and just watch it no
yeah.
bounce all the way
Yeah.
probably to Butch Hobson, who was probably playing third at the time. So I thought about that. And,
While you're on the show, you thinking about that?
yeah, well, you get a laugh and you kind of look over and
Yeah.
be like, how
That's
how the hell
fantastic. That's
would I ever tell
fantastic.
the young me, the little Billy Burr, that this was going to happen?
But all those things that you talked about making, fantasizing up, growing up, and everything. You said some of them are real. That has to be a real. I don't even know if you ever
Yeah.
thought of that, but that's as real. That's as amazing as any fantasy, don't you think? Playing
Yeah, and you know
that?
what's weird though is then when it happens, do you ever have that thing where you dream about something, and then you actually do it? There's something about it that now it doesn't feel like it was real, or it doesn't mean as much. Like you dream about being in a movie, right?
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's this gigantic fucking thing, like
Yeah,
being in a movie. And then you get there, and we're shooting in a room like this, and there's just this little camera crew, and it's like, no, what is big is how many people can possibly see it. But when you're doing it, it's this really little thing. Like I remember I was doing, I think I was doing Seth Meyers' show. Mm-hmm. And Michael O'Brien said to me, he goes, hey, the SNL stage is right next door. You want to look at it? And like SNL is the most intimidating thing ever to me. So I was like, yeah, I would love to go there and maybe just stand on that stage and kind of do something to try to feel comfortable. And I walked in, and I just and I saw like the bleachers and like how small it is.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
huge thing. Like I remember the first time I went to a taping of Letterman. I just started doing stand-up, and my brother got me tickets for my birthday, and we drove down. I was still living in Boston, and I went to it. And I remember thinking, like, Dave's desk is way over there, and Paul Schaefer is way over there, and then in the middle. And it was just this little-ass stage, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this big thing, this
yeah.
giant thing is just from there to there. Like, it was unreal. And
Even Fenway Park.
Yeah.
When you see that, it's much smaller than you had it in your mind.
yeah, that was just beyond. That was yeah, that never that never quite made sense in my head. And it's funny, I'm upset with my agent and happy with him at the same time, because he booked me in Toronto like 2 days later. And so, my tour guy Kenny is always like, don't travel day of, God knows something can happen. So I literally did the gig, smoked a cigar with Tony V out in right field, hung with my family and everything, had a great time, and all these friends, and like, oh my God, people I went to high school with. Like there was a mini high school reunion that I got to go, which that was the only thing that bummed me out was I didn't get to stay there longer, because I loved my grade and all the kids I went to school with. Everyone was just a good shit, right? And then, and like, it just happened, and it was over, and I was so relieved. And it was the same feeling I had after SNL, where I was just like, that could not have gone any better. You know, even the little mistakes you made, who gives a shit? It was just, that was awesome. And the pressure's gone. And I remember being like giddy at Logan. And then we landed in Toronto, and then it was just sort of back to the grind. And I kind of saw the humor in it, where I was just going like, hey, wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing? All right, get back on the horse, you know?
It's surreal. It's such an
back.
extreme situation. It's so everything's turned way up, and then you're you're in line buying mints.
Yeah.
And
But I love that.
Yeah,
like,
yes, I do.
And I actually feel bad for people that have that thing where they need it to keep going, because I always feel like, oh man, they have like stage 5 stand-up comedian disease, where I'm like literally like stage 3. Like this guy's terminal. Like I remember those guys, I would do the road with these guys where you do like 2 shows, you fucking killed, and all I wanted was quiet. Let's go find a dive bar or whatever. And they wanted to go to like the dance club where the DJ's playing like all loud and get bottle service and shit. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in a fucking Motley Crue video right now. This is too much. Like I just want to go sit somewhere
when I'm
and
on
chill.
the road and I do several shows, and then it's over, and then I wake up the next day and I go to the airport. When I go into the airport and I know there's no more shows, I like doing the show. It's just very intense. And I walk in and it's like, okay, here's the ticket. Okay, wait an hour. Okay, I'll go over there and look at some magazines. Because to make up for the intensity, it's like a balancing thing.
No, my favorite thing is just sitting down doing nothing, which it took me forever. It took me like, say I took 12 weeks off, it took me 10 weeks to figure out how to do that. And then I finally figured it out. My fucking vacation was over.
Doing nothing is an incredible thing, because the word nothing has a negative connotation, nothing. But if you're doing nothing, it's very helpful, because your mind slowly starts to send up ideas and everything. So doing nothing is almost like, rather than, okay, I gotta write more, I gotta write something else. Do it. I've read about doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's true though. I was saying that to what's his name? Jeff? No, what's his name? What? And
Mike?
Jake. I don't know why it came up, but that's when I know that it's a good thing. I don't put it down like, oh, doing nothing. I know, I discovered a long time ago that, at least for creativity, that's where your mind can grow, send you something from the subconscious, because there's no pressure. You're not pressuring yourself. You're just like this.
I got a buddy of mine, Paul Verzi, great comedian. Like, he is great about that. Like, I remember when he came out here to visit, he was promoting something, and he had all of this stuff, and then we went over another one of our buddies' places, and we went over there, and he goes, hey, because he'd just done a podcast, and he finished, he goes, guess what I have for the rest of the day? I said, what? He goes, nothing. I got nothing. Like, I can just sit here and do fucking nothing. And I remember, like, I kind of had nothing, but I still had to go pick up my daughter, and I was, like, envious. It's like, this guy can just sit here and do nothing on, like, a Thursday for the rest of the fucking day, and I forget what we were going to do. But we just sat there like smoking cigars in the afternoon on a Thursday, and I just kept thinking, like, I was almost like looking at him like, this guy it's Thursday and he has nothing to do. That's fucking amazing.
I like how you said I kind of had nothing.
Yeah, I kind of had nothing. That's your world. I kind of had nothing. I kind of had nothing for like a couple hours, but like when you got kids, you always have something.
But if you're sitting there smoking cigars with that guy, and you're not even doing it, that's an amazing. It appears to be nothing, but your time with him, doing nothing, smoking, that's as heightened as. That's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, this is becoming like George Carlin, where something is actually nothing, and nothing is something. Like everybody else's stuff is shit, and all your shit is stuff. It's sort of in that world, because that's what it is. Like I have stuff, I have something to do. It's usually at the end of your life, in your deathbed, you look back on it. It equates to nothing. And what I think I really, on my deathbed, what I'm going to think about, other than my family and loved ones, is that time I sat with my buddy smoking a cigar on a Thursday, or went to go see the movies on like a Tuesday because it's fun. and I think that's how I ended up getting into this business. It was just like I so much of it was not fun. Math was not fun. Read this book because I said so, not fun. And I was just I don't know. I was like a cat on a leash. Like, this is fucking awful. I don't want to do this shit. So, okay, I do have to ask, like, how did it take 7 years to write this, and how did you allow yourself, without beating yourself up, that you still hadn't finished it where...
Well, I wrote a story for Rolling Stone magazine in 1986. It was a fairy tale about how the beach was invented. You know, it was... it's...
Dude, you are just... I would never need to take... If I just hung out with you, there's no reason to take mushrooms. It's just like, okay, how... Like, that is just something I never thought, all right. Okay,
well, they called 10 people and they said, we have some subjects. By the time they called me, there was only 2 left to choose from, the beach and another one. I don't even know what the other, so I chose the beach. And I ended up writing this thing about how it became bathing suits and coolers and why the lifeguard chairs high up and all, like, and every few years I would read it because I liked it. And I read it, and then I thought I should write another things. So then I started writing. I was on Twitter actually, just briefly. They got me this Twitter thing, and I was like, I don't know, I don't want to put jokes on there. I'm gonna start writing my next book on Twitter. So I was writing 2 sentences at a time. Of that.
And then tweeting it out.
Yeah, 2 sentences, and then the next day 2 sentences, and the next, and then people were leaving messages saying, "Doesn't he know this is perfect for his style of comedy? This is perfect for his jokes.
Right.
What is he doing?" And other people, "Oh my God, he's writing a novel on Twitter. This is fantastic." And then I stopped writing it on that, and I just kept writing it. But I didn't have no one was waiting for it. I didn't have a deal with a company or anything. I was just writing it, and I got into this rhythm where I would try to write like a little bit every day, 200 words a day. And then I really got enjoying it. You see how it's another world? Like,
yeah.
So I was in this other world, but I didn't have any pressure. It's taken too long. No one even knew I was doing it. A couple of friends. But so then it was like...
It's actually a really smart way to create something.
I could never... If someone said, "Here's this amount of money, now give us the gears would stop. I could never write it on purpose. You know, like, now we paid you, now come up with it.
You know, it's funny. I'm doing something next month, just as a goof. Something I'm going to shoot, and because it's my own money, there's no deadline or anything. And so it's like, well, we can maybe this will be a long day. I go, why don't we shoot an extra day? Why don't we just be human beings and have an hour for lunch? We'll have a coffee truck. Why don't we just actually have fun for 4 days and shoot this thing? And like everybody on the Zoom was just like, oh my God, I've been waiting for a gig like this forever. It's funny, like this grind that they do, like there's never enough time, there's never enough money.
It's always too late. You gotta do it 1 minute left. And when I have a friend, Dean Pariseau, he's a director, and we have this term called the treehouse that we came up with. And that term means when you're creating like you're a kid, like you're 12, you're making up a movie or something without that pressure of show business. The term treehouse is like, it's fun. There's no one's waiting. There's no rules. You know, when you make a treehouse when you were a kid or make stuff up, there's none of, and that's kind of you're saying. That sounds like that's a little bit like that. You're taking all that stuff off, the pressure off, and you're creating this environment where it's a fun thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I kept running into. Is these things that I dreamed about doing, you end up doing them and they end up not being fun. And I'm like, why isn't this fun? I'm fucking around. I'm doing all this stuff. Oh, I know why it isn't fun. It's because people are telling me when the fun ends and how much money they have for the fun and all of that type of stuff. So it's been shoved into this thing of, it's been monetized, basically. And then the second there's money involved, like all the fun goes away. And that's what I just like, I you know, the things that I've worked on, I've always just going like, why is there never enough time?
Yeah.
It's like they always go, well, ideally this would be, you know, this amount of time for this budget, but we don't seem to blah, 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 blah. It's like, what do you, it's like, if I see one more motherfucker buy a $20 million house, knock it down to then build another house. Like, I just, like, how does that dude not immediately get audited? It's like, you just spent $20 million on something, you just somebody bought Betty White's house, $10 million bucks, and just knocked it down.
Wow.
And it's kind of like, who the fuck has the money to buy a house and knock it down? Like, I'm going to buy a car, blow it up, and then build a car where that car just was. Yeah. It's just like, what the fuck? So, I you know, I do get on one side, like the business side of this, where if they didn't put the squeeze on us, that you know, we would sit there staring at our navels too long and they would lose their shirts and go out of business. So I'm trying to find the, you know, the happy medium, like, balance of that. But now, you know, I'm gonna be 55 in June, you know what I mean? So I've at this point, you know, I just literally, if it's fun, I'm gonna do it. And I like helping out the younger comics. And yeah, I kind of like, I've discovered coffee.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see the back of the book, the acknowledgments?
Oh, yeah.
Read that? The last thing is coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee. I know.
And I thought whenever you came, when I was talking about all the different layers of this book, was I thought when you would start talking, you don't have to answer this question either, because I like not knowing, is that when you would start talking about coffee, because I knew this kid wasn't drinking coffee. I thought that now I am in Steven's head writing the book.
Yes, I wrote that book on coffee. Coffee hits me like a drug, like cocaine. Coffee makes my mind go crazy. I have this routine. I'm a bike guy. I ride a bike, so I would ride an hour in the morning, and then I would go somewhere with a big thermos and a half of coffee, and I'd start drinking the coffee, and my mind starts going like this. And I wrote, by the way, I wrote the book on my phone. Did I tell you that?
No.
I wrote it.
Of course. Yeah, why would you do anything normal?
I wrote it in the notes section.
While looking through a telescope.
What?
While looking through a telescope.
Yes. Because I could never sit in a room at a typewriter or computer, and I need to move different locations. In the phone, I could write it anywhere I wanted, in the car, on the beach, anywhere. But anyway, my mind would get jazzed up on coffee, and I knew I had like a 2-hour window where I was just crazy.
Yeah.
Does coffee affect you like
Optimal Steven Wright.
Does coffee affect you like that?
So I'm a ginger dude. We're weird with anesthetic and coffee. Like, I can literally drink like back-to-back double espressos and then take a nap. But then every once in a while, I'll have a cappuccino and an espresso, and then I start getting like every once in a while, it affects me like regular people. But most times it kind of doesn't. Okay, unfortunately, we're gonna have to, because you're gonna have to start wrapping this up. But like, I felt like when I was reading this book, I was in the classroom. I saw on 3 planes. I was in the classroom. I was going off into the worlds in this kid's head, and then every once in a while, you were pulling me back, and I was over your shoulder watching you writing it.
Really?
Yeah. Whenever you would bring up coffee, I'm like, oh, now it's Steven. Now we're back to Harold. Now we're in the classroom. Now we're on the mushrooms trip. I'm in outer space. I'm on this planet. I'm in a lighthouse. I mean, this thing was a fucking ride, man.
Wow. Thank you so much.
It's incredible.
Thank you.
Dude, I think, dude,
much.
you are, seriously, I don't say genius a lot, dude. You are a fucking straight up genius, dude. Nobody thinks like you. And I am so happy to know you, and I'm so glad that I had the privilege of reading this book before anybody else. It's called Harold. Read this goddamn book, man. It's a masterpiece. Absolutely loved it.
Thank you, Bill, and I also think you're amazing and you're brilliant, and I'm blown away by what you do and how much you come up with. I mean, not only is it high level, the volume is mind-blowing to me.
Well, you know what else is I said all that nice shit about you just so you would do that. No, I'm kidding. No, that means the world to me, because I have to say, all you ding-ho guys, if you guys didn't exist, I wouldn't have a career. You guys, like, the amount of times I thought the luck I had that, my parents are Midwest people, and they ended up just, long story, moved to Massachusetts. And what are the odds they moved to the state that literally had the best comedy scene, and you guys created it? Leno, had the machete going through the strip clubs, and you guys started, like, what I love that your generation started and has never ended is the marriage of Chinese food and stand-up comedy. It's such a uniquely Massachusetts, New England type of thing. Like Dick Doherty, rest his souls, with those ding-hos, not ding-hos, sorry, the aku-akus, the ding-ho. I mean, I played, like part of doing stand-up comedy for me when I started was smelling Chinese food being cooked.
Yes.
But anyways, dude, I thank you so much for coming on this. I hope this is a huge success, and I look forward to the next one in 30 years or whenever you write.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.
All right.
Thank you very much.
The one and only Steven Wright. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr. It's the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, May 11th, 2015. What's going on? How are you? I'm out here in Boston, and I am 4 shows into my 19-show run here at the Wilbur Theater. Having a good time so far, running into a bunch of people I went to high school with, worked with. I had a math teacher from 9th grade. He showed up. Algebra, my algebra teacher. And I remember that year you were supposed to get you needed a 70. That's what you needed. You needed a fucking 70, just like my helicopter test. You needed a 70 to pass in order to go on to geometry, more math that I was never going to use in my life because I was not going to be an engineer. I had no idea what geometry was when I took it. Nobody ever told me. They just you just showed up and they just started, you had to memorize paragraphs about shapes. The Pythagorean theorem or some shit like that, right? Opposite angles are congruent. Remember all of that? I don't even know if it's like that for you youngsters out there, you fucking youngsters. But the way that they go into math, and you can tell right now that I didn't get the 70. The way that they go into math in fucking high school, it's absolutely ridiculous because up until then, it's 1 + 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2. It's all fucking numbers, right? And then all of a sudden you get to your freshman, at least I did. I got to my freshman year. I'm sure if you're from Asia, you got to this in the 4th grade, but I'm a white guy. I got to it in the 9th grade. Okay? I got a regular old fucking meat and potatoes, little stewed carrot fucking brain. I can't help it. All right? My ancestors boiled the food. There was no nutrients in it. And as a result, I'm 5 years behind an entire continent, evidently. You ever think how great it is that we have nuclear weapons so we can actually bully people into actually thinking that we're an intellectual factor? You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, if the world was like a fucking SAT test, we really would not be doing well. Oh, yeah, I'm dragging my whole country down with my stupidity. That's how fucking arrogant I am. It can't just be like, hey, Bill, you ever think that maybe you're a fucking moron who should have hit the books a little bit harder? No, I don't think that. I think I'll blame my whole country. I'll blame the whole school system. That's what you do, right? That's what you do as a parent now when you have a little cunty kid who needs a swift kick in his little Oshkosh bagosh fucking stupid. Oh, aren't those adorable overalls? Oh, the overalls are adorable. That little fucking monster in them, who's never been told he's wrong his entire life and that he's special, right? That fucker right there needs the pacifier slapped out of his fucking face. Sorry. Losing my voice already. Hey, I'm losing my voice already. I got another fucking 20 shows to do. That's would be a funny thing to say to some parent. Excuse me, miss, if you don't get that kid under control, I'm going to slap the pacifier right out of his mouth. It's not illegal to say that. That's what's funny. It's just now everybody has like a cell phone camera, and then they would film you while you did it, and then they would do the provocative to try to get you to watch the video. I was sitting on a park bench having a great time with my toddler, and I never expected that, and you won't believe what happened next. Then they would just cut to me, hey, lady, if you don't shut that kid up, I'm going to slap the pacifier out of his mouth. And then everybody would come at me, right? They'd come at me like I was the next Mussolini, you know? Never once just going like, hey, wait a minute. The video kind of started with him threatening that child, you know what I mean? Threatening the mother, to do fucking violence to the kid. That's where it started. Like, what happened before then, you know? That's what they never have that part in the video. They never had what happened before. It's always escalate. It just starts with somebody slapping a pacifier out of somebody's mouth, you know? And admittedly, I watch those videos and I go, hey, come on, man, you know, at least wait till the kid's like 4, right? But these fucking videos, it always starts like right there. It's like, what happened right before then? You know? For all you know, that's like a video shoot. And the person's reading off like a cue card. Oh, you hear that hammering? I've been hearing that since 7 in the fucking morning. Yep. There you go. Because I'm fucking staying with the beautiful mind right now. Fucking ADD out the fucking... up the goddamn trees. You know, there's one thing that's funny. People really talk about that fucking... bang, 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 bang. I've been hearing that since 7 in the morning. You hear that? Fucking... just laying here, 7 in the morning. And I'm fucking... there's one here. Bang, 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 right? And it's making me have all these fucking weird dreams. I had this one dream, you know, because that fucking hammering, woke me up at 7 in the morning. My first words... today were, are you fucking serious? That's how I woke up. Now, you know it's going to be I'll tell you it's going to be a rough one. That's the first fucking thing. And I just, I was going to wait till the fucking, the newspapers on the fucking deck were done and, reading it and trying to figure it out. But I figured, fuck that. I'm just going to do the podcast while the hammering's going on. I got other shit to do. Fuck it. So I got to deal with it means you got to deal with it. You get that one in? Oh, good. Now he's got to go cut another one. So we got a nice fucking 10-minute... Oh, no. There it is. Bap, 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 bap. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Fucking times you got to hit it before it's in. Anyways, so it was causing me to have all these fucked up dreams. I had this fucking dream that me and Nia... split up. I didn't realize it in the dream. I knew I don't know, and I was out drinking with some other comics who I don't even know who they are in the dream, and I woke up the next day, they're like, dude, what the fuck happened to you last night? I was like, what do you mean? It was like, you were doing the chicken dance with that chick. And I was like, I don't remember. I vaguely remember doing it, and I was embarrassed. I don't know what the chicken dance is either. That's the weird part about this dream. And then all of a sudden, I was just in this relationship with this fucking woman who I didn't want to be with, and she had this weird look on her face, and she was walking weird. She had like blonde hair. She had a weird look on her face, and it was like she was walking the whole fucking thing. I was going, what did I do? I broke up with Nia and I got with this. She's walking weird and we're doing the chicken dance. I want to get out of here. Now, all of that came from that fucking hammering. I had that thing, and then I had another dream. I was pulling up to some department store in the hood for some fucking reason because I wanted to shop. All right? And these guys are going, hey, man, why don't you just park right here? Why don't you park? I parked in this spot, and then they came up. They said, oh, this spot's for our church. Why don't you go park down the street? Oh, we'll do it. We'll park it for you. I was like, dude, I'm not giving you my keys. And the next thing you know, one of them was in the car. And I was outside the car. I'm like, hey, give me the fucking keys back, right? So I go into this, bam, 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 bam. So then I fucking go into the department store. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's the same fucking nail. That's what kills me. Funny if I go down there and he's banging his head against the wall. Trying to get all the voices out of there. So I go into the department store, and it's just this shitty ass place, and there's like washers and dryers and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like 5 of them come in, and they go, "Hey, we got to move your car or something like that." But blah 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 blah. Give me the keys, and I'll go. I'm not giving you the keys. And they go, "Why?" I go, "Because I'm not the white guy from Def Jam." Like, "Oh, okay, here you go. Here's my fucking keys. Go move the car." I'm not moving the fucking car. And then I saw this whole part of the store and they go, "You're not going to buy anything here?" And I go, "No, this fucking store sucks." And then they showed where all the good clothes were. I was like, "Oh, this shows that this fucking store is actually good." I know it's a fucked up dream, but I got hammering in my head as I'm dreaming here. So I ended up going out, and my car's gone. I walked down the street to where it is, and they'd fucked up the fender. Now I'm driving away. No, I got in it, and somebody came up with a gun and was trying to rob me. I remember I just said, "Go fuck yourself." And now I was walking away, and there was like this Asian cop. I swear to God, with like the Baltimore riots playing on a TV or something. I don't know why I had this dream, right? I'm fucking walking out, and this Asian cop, I'm going, "You see these guys? They're gonna fucking shoot me." And he said something. He's eating like this fish sandwich, and he was just like, "Yeah, I can't fucking help you." He had the white shirt on, the fucking police chief. He was just like, "Yeah, I can't help you." And then they were saying they were going to follow me. And I said that I didn't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself. And then I was on Sunset Boulevard, and I drove home to a different house. And then I woke up and I had a fantasy about having ridiculous security. And I popped up on their GPS screen and all their fucking phones as they were pulling up the street. And I just yelled at them with this goat's head on, said I was in the Illuminati. And they got scared and they left. That's my morning. That's what happens when you wake up to hammering. I don't know what any of that means, but I got to tell you, as fucked up as the second dream was, the first one was scarier. Jesus Christ. Even in my dream, why don't I just say, "Hey, I'm sure you're a lovely person to somebody else, but not to me. I don't want to be in this anymore." All right? It is you, and it's me. That's my new one. Instead, it's not you, it's me. It's not me, it's you. It is me, and it's you. All right? It's fucking everybody. Thanks to you, it's not working for all of us the ununited way. So anyways, I've been thinking about this fucking ADD shit coming from a family where everybody sort of has it a little bit to different degrees. You know what I mean? Which just causes you to constantly be going in like a different direction every 5 seconds and all that type of stuff. I've actually made peace with it, and I don't think it's really a big deal. When I just really sat down and I thought about it, is it trying to put you on medication? Even my wife one time, I was just going like, they got stuff, kind of takes the edge off, fucking chills you out a little bit. And I was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm not taking that stuff. The fucking FDA doesn't even exist anymore. It's full of a bunch of people who used to work for drug companies. You got the nuts running the nut house. I'm not sticking anything in my fucking body other than aspirin. Anything that wasn't made pre-1960s, I'm not sticking it in there unless I have a terminal disease, and at that point, who gives a fuck? I'll try anything." So I actually had this conversation with her. I go, "Do you ever think that having ADD is actually natural? I mean, I was born that way. For you to sit there and, like, the way that they demonize that, people, they have problems focusing and they can't do well in school. Who gives a fuck? I didn't do well in school. I did great in life, though. You know what I mean? With the fucking schools and most jobs is what they want you to do. They want you to not be thinking. Don't be fucking going all over the place. And they want, focus on this job. Focus on what job? This mind-numbing fucking horseshit that's not fulfilling me on any goddamn level? Stack of spreadsheets? Do you think I fucking laid in bed as a child and that's what I thought about when I dreamed someday? Someday, what are you going to be, Billy? You're going to be an astronaut? You want to play baseball? No. I want a stack of spreadsheets. Now, here's the thing. There's some people that are fucking into that, and it gets their juices going. Those are the people who should be doing that job. I got to admit, with this fucking pilot shit, I had no idea how much I was into reading charts and graphing stuff and, like, the temperature dew point and that whole fucking formula, right? Subtract the dew point from the temperature, divide by 4.4, and then multiply by 1,000. I thought I'd hate that shit. I fucking loved it. Once I got it down, I started getting the right answers, and I really started thinking about the genius of how somebody actually came up with that. It got my fucking brain going, and I loved it. You know what I mean? Which brings me back to fucking math in high school. Right? Math in high school, how all of that shit is fucking unbelievable. They're basically beginning to make you, the math that you learn in high school, at least in my fucking country, is they're making you like a junior member of the Freemasons. You know, you're starting to learn the secrets of the universe with that math. Now, if they fucking said that to start it out, you know how fucking motivated I would have been? This math that you're now going to embark on, that shit that we fucking taught you for the first 8 years, okay? That's just, you know, that's just when you go down the street and you buy a loaf of bread. You make sure they give you the right amount of change. Okay, now this shit, guy should have been up there wearing like some fucking, you know, secret society robe, dimming the lights with a flashlight under his chin, right? Just to kick it off. And just be like, these formulas we're about to show you. Showing like a video of like the fucking Big Bang and the solar system and all that shit being made. The math you're about to embark on. All the mysteries of the world up until this point. The mysteries that we have unraveled. The answers to all of these mysteries will now be at your fingertips. They'll be in your mind. They'll be in your soul. Right? I would have fucking aced that class. If you just fucking walk in day one and you write your name on the board and you start throwing the alphabet and words in with numbers, you know. Old Freckles in the back of the class, I just shut down. I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? I don't get this. I feel stupid. I know I'm going to make the people around me laugh. So I needed a 70. I needed a 70 to get through this motherfucker, right? And I ended up getting like a 68. And I was a douche to the teacher all year. Bad move. Bad move when I'm coming up there with my lack of a hat in my freckled hands. And I had like the 68 or a 69. I was right there, and he didn't give it to me. And I went to summer school. And I was just like, oh, man, this summer's going to suck. I had 2 weeks off, and then immediately I was fucking back into summer school. And then I got to summer school, and immediately it was the best time I ever fucking had in my life. Because summer school is filled with a bunch of class clowns, musicians, artistic people, people with fucking ADD, and people who fucking hate authority. It was one of the great classes I had ever been in. I thought I was funny. I got to those classes. I kept my mouth shut. I couldn't even keep up with the level of funny that was in those fucking classes. And just the balls that the kids had. Truly found kids that didn't give a fuck. It's probably the bad crowd. But, you know something, if you take what you learn in that, with that attitude, if you apply it to the right areas of life, it actually can work for you. If you apply it to the wrong areas, you end up in jail. So, you know, you got to kind of navigate those fucking waters. You know? If your natural reaction to somebody coming in going, can you settle down? Can I have your attention, please? If your natural reaction is fuck this guy, that's not exactly a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's not actually a good thing either. You just got to know when to say fuck this guy. Or who is this guy, or why am I listening to this guy? I think you should always think, why am I listening to this person? Unless, you know, you're on some hike through the forest and you're with some goddamn ranger and there's a grizzly bear. And he turns around and be like, okay, listen, this is really critical. You know, then you listen. You don't be like, who the fuck are you to tell me? Dude, I know it's a fucking bear. So anyways, that fucking ADD shit. If you have ADD, don't let them put you on fucking medicine. I'm really going like, was it Suzanne Summers that got in trouble? It was one of those blondies. It was the chick from the MTV thing, right? She said a bunch of stuff where she, you know, didn't really do her homework. What was it on? Autistic kids, right? Or was it Tom Cruise talking about psychology? I think I'm doing this right now. You know, what's that? Is that the phone ringing? Oh, Jesus, there's the phone. The phone's ringing. Once the hammering stops, then the phone goes. 1,001, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 rings. Come on, give me 4. Over or under, I say 6 before it's picked up. Come on, 5. It's 5. Here comes a push. Ties lose, ties lose. It's 6. 7 for the win. Come on, 7. Come on, you 7. We got a winner. I gotta wait till this is done. Oh, yeah, just there's somebody downstairs sitting right next to the phone too. That's the funny thing. Anyways, yeah, that whole fucking ADD thing where it's just like, all right, you gotta, you need to calm down. You need to focus. Maybe you're a different kind of person. You don't need 2 years of a fucking language and go through all of that bullshit. Hammer, 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 hammer. Oh, fucking Christ. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Constantly, the fucking place is under construction. I don't think I've ever been here where it's not under construction. It's a beautiful mind and it needs to be occupied. Let me go build some shit. Hello, do you know me? Sure, we all do. I'm that person hammering at fucking 7 in the morning. Now, how the fuck do I get out of this? Sorry, hold on a second. Close. Close and save. Close and discard. These fucking Apple products, they always got all these questions. All right, let's read a couple of ads here for this week. All right, so here we go. Back to the fucking Monday morning podcast here. All right. So when I last talked to you, when I checked in on you on the Thursday afternoon, Monday morning podcast just before Thursday, by the way, if you would like me to read or rant about something, talk about anything on the podcast, you'd like to try to get it on, just tweet me with the hashtag TAMMP. Basically, Thursday afternoon, Monday morning podcast. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Anyways, if you'd like to do that, that's what you can do, all right? And then, the fuck else was I talking about? Where the hell was I going with this? Oh, yeah, on the Thursday afternoon podcast, Monday morning podcast, just before Thursday, I was ranting about the Tom Brady thing, which I cannot believe they're actually going to, the rumor is he's going to get suspended for 2 games for pure speculation. I love all you guys, too, that show those text messages like that's damning information. I can't tell what they're talking about definitively, and neither can you. All of this would be laughed out of court. But the thing is, this isn't a court. It's a corporation. And what corporations really give a shit about is the opinion of the base level, mouth-breathing fucking moron. Because that's the guy you get the most fucking money out of. That's the dope that shows up to the game dressed, wearing everything but helmets and cleats. Goes down to the pro shop and buys all the stuff and paints his fucking face. Moron. Fucking I'm the fucking biggest fan. Oh, look at me. I'm a fireman. Put me on your shoulders. Even he fucking woke up. Even he woke up after a while and said, this is fucking stupid. It's not worth it. But those are the people. Those are the same people that call in sports talk radio and all that. The fucking NFL is going to base, maybe he could have probably, but we can't prove it, report. They're going to base the suspension on the crowd's reaction. The base level mouth breathing moron. So basically, if you make enough fucking noise, they're going to suspend this guy for absolutely fucking nothing. You know? I don't know if he knew. I don't know if he didn't know. And that's the same. Everybody can say the same thing, but I can tell you this: what he did, if he even fucking knew, it's the equivalent of fucking he played with a hockey stick with too big a curve on it for about a period and a half. And then after that, with a regulation stick, scored 50 fucking goals. But you're going to be like, oh, no, fuck his whole career. And all that comes down to is you fucking cunts hate the Patriots and you hate the fact that they're fucking winning. It's the dumbest shit ever. And I'll tell you this, though, but if this is what you're going to do, if this is the standard that you want, okay, I will go with it. And you can call Brady a cheater and the Patriots a cheater, but then we're going to go through the whole fucking league. And this is just the shit that I know, because I got shit from some fucking Steeler fan, right? And I'm like, really? Well, if we're just going to go on circumstantial evidence, you have a sex offender at the QB position, 2-time sex offender that we know of at the QB position. And also Terry Bradshaw admitted to doing steroids along with a bunch of other Steelers in the 70s. So you're no longer Sixberg. You're fucking two-time sex offender, 2-time Super Bowl champion Berg. You want that? What about Jerry Rice, who admitted after his career that he used a stickum that wasn't quite legal? It wasn't fucking legal. So there you go. What did he win? 3 titles with the 49ers? Those are out, and the 49ers are all cheaters. You can go around the fucking league. There's shit in the league that you don't even fucking... There's been no evidence. You know why there's no evidence? It's because the other team that lost was never such a fucking pussy like Jim Irsay that they launched an investigation. Do you think that you can't do this to every fucking team on every game? If you looked under every fucking jockstrap, you wouldn't find something? Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s. Their head coach was Jimmy Johnson. Bang, 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 bang. Jimmy Johnson from the University of fucking Miami. Okay? Basically a low security federal fucking prison. That's what their football program was when he was running it. Then he goes to the Dallas Cowboys, a.k.a. a coke den / whorehouse of a fucking franchise. Their owner has a facelift. His face is a lie. His face is cheating. Right out of the gate, the first thing you're telling me if you didn't look under a couple of those cheerleaders' skirts, you wouldn't have found something? Give me a fucking break. I'll tell you, right, if this guy gets fucking suspended, this is an absolute goddamn fucking travesty that you're going to do this. Tar and feather one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and arguably the greatest head coach of all time with this cunty fucking pussy shit. I can't, I think I won't watch professional football. I'm just going to watch college football this year if this is what happens. If because of a bunch of fucking sore losers and mouth-breathing fucking morons complain enough. I swear to God, I really think it's because of all that Ray Rice shit. You know what I mean? How they didn't get it right. We got to get it right. Ray Rice knocks out his fiancée and they go, all right, two games suspension. Why don't you cool it out there? Come on, man. We can't have this. We can't, they fucking talked to him like Henry Hill when he had his Gumar, They came over, come on, you got to go back to your wife, okay? We can't have this. This is ridiculous, all right? Come on. You can't be staying over here. You got to go back to Karen. That's how they treated him, right? Then all of a sudden the video came out and they were like, oh, wait a minute. We meant we don't tolerate that and get out of the league. Get out of the league because we're so fucking pure, right? It's all fucking bullshit. It's all bullshit, right? And then fucking, then what happens? His goddamn fiance, who should have left the guy, that's probably grounds to be like, this really isn't what I'm looking for in a relationship. She goes, but she forgives the guy. Why does she forgive him? Because he gave the apology of the fucking universe, because he makes $1 zillion a fucking year. Do you think if Ray Rice was working at Midas Muffler, the forgiveness happens? I don't think it does. Coming home every day smelling like fucking exhaust? I don't think it does. It's all bullshit. That stupid pink shit that they're making $1 zillion off of. You guys go out and buy those pink jerseys and you think you're helping out because your grandmother died of fucking breast cancer, and you find out like 1% actually goes to the cause to raise awareness, not even to fight the disease, and the rest goes into these fucking owners' pockets. Do you see that shit about the troops? Whenever they advertise with the fucking the flag and all that, you're thinking, wow, the NFL's supporting the troops. The military's got to pay for that. You guys are talking about a cunt hair out of a fucking ball? Somebody said this weekend, said if he actually did it, he should have just said, like, yeah, man, I like it. That's what the fuck I like him at. Gives me a little better feel, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And then you combine that with the fact that ESPN did the study and showed it was actually a disadvantage. And you combine it with the fact that when he had the regulation fucking ball, he fucking killed him even worse. It's a fucking witch hunt. You're tar and feathering this guy. And you know what? Go ahead and fucking do it. Because that's what sports fans do. It's like New York sports fans. New York sports fans, all they bring up when they talk to Boston fans are the 2 giant victories over the Patriots. Oh, you couldn't beat the Giants, though. They're still bringing that shit up. It's like, I don't even bring up the fucking 04 Yankees. Do I do that? Do I bring up, the fucking Celtics got 17 championships? The only time I ever do that is if a Knicks fan comes up to me and gives me fucking shit. Fucking New York fans sitting there ignoring, hanging their hats on 2 fucking wins and fucking ignoring the absolute carnage, the roadkill, the sports roadkill of the other fucking 8 teams. The other 8 teams in your fucking state. Roadkill. Fucking roadkill to the point they shouldn't even be in a fucking league. Horrific. Absolutely fucking horrific. And even your crown jewel, the Yankees, they blew a 3-0 lead. So even they got a fucking big splooch of mud in their face. It's fucking unreal. Unfucking real. I got to listen to Verzi all fucking week this week talking about how, telling Boston fans how the fucking Giants beat the fucking Patriots. It's just like, really? Are we still talking about the fucking... Whatever. Hey, you know what? Good for you. Good on you. Did you win 2? Well, we won 4 while winning 3 World Series, a Stanley Cup, and an NBA championship with 4 teams. I will take that. I'll take those 2 losses all fucking day long. All day long. But anyway, so this past Thursday, so I was fucking ragging about this Brady shit as I just did. And I don't want to hear anybody giving me any shit about that. I continue to talk about this because you cunts are continuing to talk about it on the other side. Tar and feather and my fucking guy. So I'm going to stick up for him here. So anyways... Other than the Brady thing, last Thursday, the fucking Lightning were up 3-0 against the Canadians, and the fucking Capitals were up 3-1 against the New York Rangers. And all I was thinking was, well, at least before that, was thinking, all right, well, if the Rangers and Canadians win, they play each other, so they're going to knock one of them out. So now I'm down to just one, and then hopefully the Ducks or the Blackhawks will finish them off, right? But all of a sudden, it looked like Tampa Bay was going to win, and the Capitals were going to fucking win. And they were going to get done away with in the semis. Oh, that would have made me feel great. And then what happens? Canadians win game 4. All right, they're the Canadians. They got that fucking pride. They got that tradition. You think you're going to sweep us? Go fuck yourself. All right, come on, Tampa. Finish them off in 5. They fucking win game 5. Well, they up to game 6 right now? So game 6 is tonight. Game 6 is tonight, and I'm going to tell you right now. Tampa... I swear to God, Eiserman's got to be down there. He's got to be down there. He's got to give him a speech because if they lose this one, it's fucking over. You can never say it's over, but it is fucking over. And I actually think I'm rooting for the Capitals, but I think the Rangers series is over. I think it's fucking over. The fucking goddamn Capitals, man, they just can't get over the hump. You know what's funny was I really agreed when they got rid of their fucking coach there. I didn't think he was the right guy. I can't remember his name. Begins with a B. Now he's with the Ducks. Guess I was wrong, huh? They're looking like the favorites. So, anyways, it's actually going to be. I think we're probably going to be looking at 2 game 7s. As much as I root against the fucking Canadians and the Rangers, it's actually exciting to watch a team come back like that. And then also it's fucking extra hockey. So it's kind of a win-win. They either fucking dispose of them quickly or I get to watch more playoff games. God knows I got the time as a Bruins fan. God knows I got the fucking time. So anyways, I'm in the middle of this run here in Boston, which is really a fucking amazing thing. And I want to thank everybody who's come out so far. I'm really not taking this week lightly. This means a lot to me that all these shows were added and everybody comes out and it's really cool that I started my career 23 years ago right across the street. Well, actually, right across the street now is the W Hotel, but it used to be an empty parking lot. And you could actually see Nick's Comedy Stop. It was great. They still have the sign, and it lights up. It's just blocked by the hotel now, so you can't fucking see it. And they're actually down to only 2 shows a week, which kind of makes me sad. But I got to tell you, I'm like one of the few guys I know that the original place where I started actually still exists and is doing comedy. That's pretty good 23 years in. And I tell you, I did so much stand-up in this fucking state. It was Mother's Day yesterday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And took my mom out to brunch and all that and met some of my other relatives and stuff. We all met at this restaurant. And I went in there and I was just like, Jesus Christ, I did stand-up in this space. It wasn't this restaurant, but it was something else. Like fucking 20 years ago. And then the place right next to it used to be like a Ground Round or a Spaghetti Freddy's or something like that. And I used to do stand-up in the basement of that. All these fucking memories coming back. You know, great memories, some sad, you know. I always think about Patrice when I come back here. I used to swing by, you know, I'd go up Blue Hill Ave and I would turn. He lived down on, where did they live? On Seaver Street in West Roxbury. I used to go down there and I'd pick him up. We'd drive over. No, did I used to pick him? No, he used to go into the clubs and then I'd meet him in at the clubs and at night I'd give him a ride home. And so just thinking about all of that shit and all the fucking, I don't know, man. It's been one of those things. And just a bunch of people that I went to high school with and have been showing up, which is always great, you know. And fortunately, I had a really, you know, some people, you know, dude, I hated high school. I hated my fucking grade. I didn't. I loved high school. I hated the academic part, but I came a really good, cool grade. And fortunately, everybody I've run into is doing really well and they're happy. And what's really cool, too, is they seem the exact same. I ran into a couple kids the other night, not even kids now, shit, we're fucking mid-40s. And it's crazy. Everyone that I run into for my grade, it was just like, you know, 25, 27 years in some cases have gone by. You just pick up right where you left off, talking about, hey, you know, they got kids or whatever they're doing, and then you just start talking about all the dumb shit that we did. I had a couple buddies of mine come in last night, and I'm not going to name the name of the school, but he had this, I'll tell the quick version of the story. All right, it's the late 80s. Appetite for destruction is just catching on. People are playing the fucking cassette tape. We're at this party. Two of my psycho friends, one of them's gone now, rest his soul. They go upstairs, you know, to go to a different party. All right? They both leave. Fucking 10 minutes later, they come back. One of them had a flat top. He had a fucking gash going like almost like someone tried to part his hair by splitting his scalp. He's got this fucking 4-inch gash on top of his head, and the other guy's got a separated shoulder and a fat lip. And we're like, what the fuck happened? They're like, oh, you know, we just walked into this party. We said, hey, is this a party? And they just started beating us up, right? So this fucking mob goes up the goddamn stairs, right? And we're going up the stairs all drunk, and we hear the party. And the biggest psycho out of all of us knocked on the door. And the person on the side goes, hello. And he goes, hey, excuse me, is there a party in here? And the fucking dude opened the door, and then it just fucking bedlam. I'll never forget the sound of that, because it was all hardwood floors. It was like fucking what appeared to be 20 on 20, everybody throwing fucking haymakers and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, the fucking smoke clears, and I'm kind of looking over at the people we were fighting, and it's like 6 guys and 6 women, and there's a board game that's fucking all over the place. We went to the wrong party. They were in there playing like Risk or something, and then 20 drunks came in. Just wasn't 20. It was like, I don't know, it was like 8 of us. And I don't know, the real party was upstairs. And what's funny was the kids upstairs, they actually sued my friends because what they said happened didn't really fucking happen. So we were talking about just all of those days. There's so many funny details of some of my friends, and I don't want to share them all with you because I'm afraid someone else is going to steal it and put it in a script, because there's a couple of details from these guys. First, he's always like, dude, that's fucking hilarious. You got to put that in something. But so we were just talking about all those old days, and oh my God, this guy got mad at the other guy, and he threw a keg right through his fucking windshield. I got arrested for drinking and driving because I was trying to get home to the fucking Patriots-Rams game. That was when I got pulled over, and I remember the cop pulled me over, and he said, where you coming from? And I said, fucking Boston. He goes, fucking Boston? You want to get out of the car, please? And I thought, what a shit show. I remember when I fucking was trying to put my finger to my nose. From fucking 8 to 12 went good as far as the arm movement, but when I went 12 to 6, it felt like somebody else's hand just came down and slapped me in the head. And he goes, you want to turn around and face the car and put your arms out and try to stand on one? He was just trying to get me in the position. He just fucking cuffed me. It was bad. It was bad. I blew a 1-9, you know? Thought I had the 2. All right, let's do a little more advertising here. That's good. Fucking convicted drunk driver. Here we go. Let's do some advertising here. And he's not even talking about the dangers of it. All right, LegalZoom, everyone. Are you the next world-famous entrepreneur? Or maybe you don't care about fame. You just want to help people. Whatever your motivation, if you're an innovator, it's easy to launch your dream this month with LegalZoom. Incorporate or form an LLC to start your business. Register your trademark to protect your products and services. Apply for a patent to secure your invention. Or over the past decade, LegalZoom has helped more than 1 million people just like you turn their ideas into reality. So, what's special about this month? Well, for a limited time, you can get special savings on any trademark, copyright, or provisional patent application. Go to LegalZoom.com today to get started. They even can help you if you have a great idea, but you're not sure where to begin. Since they're not a law firm, you can get advice from LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in most states. That means you can get the guidance you need to get your idea off of the ground. Don't forget to enter Burr in the referral box at checkout this month for your special discount. LegalZoom.com, promo code Burr, B-U-R-R. Legal help is here. All right, Stamps.com, everyone. Lastly but not leastly, most of us are trying to find more time every day to get things done. So you can't let trips to the post office slow you down. Now you don't have to, thanks to Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, you can buy and print official U.S. postage right from your own computer and printer. Stamps.com will send you a digital scale that automatically calculates the exact postage you need for any letter or package, any class of mail. You'll never waste valuable time going to the post office again. Do everything right from your desk with Stamps.com. Print the postage you need, put it on your letter or package, and then just hand it to your mail carrier, and you know what? You're all done. I use Stamps.com to send out all my posters, like the fucking one I'm selling this week at the Wilbur. Autograph poster, by the way, if you're coming down. Right now, use my last name, Burr, for this special offer. No risk trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes the digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Burr, B-U-R-R. That's Stamps.com. Enter Burr. All right. Mercifully, the reading out loud portion of the program is over. Oh, for fuck's sakes, what happened? You know something? I absolutely fucking 100% hate computers. I had all my questions. What happened? What does it mean when you click on it? Oh, there it is. There it is. I like how I was just going to ask you that like you could answer me on a recording. All right, Fed Up. Hey, Bill, saw a great documentary called Fed Up. A few things they talked about sounded like stuff you'd mentioned on the podcast. I was wondering if you've seen it. It focuses on the dangers of sugar and the addiction that most Americans have. Definitely check it out if you haven't. No, I've read enough. I haven't read. I mean, I've read a little bit, but I mostly watched a bunch of documentaries, and I've pretty much found that they're right on. They're very accurate. But I tell you, it's very difficult to try to eat food now that has not been tampered with on some level. And I try to be empathetic to the people that grow the food, thinking like, well, you know, if you got to feed 7 billion goddamn people or whatever, 300, whatever there is in this country, though, 300 something million, 400 million, you know, you're going to need some pesticides. You know, I'm trying not to talk on my cell phone anymore with it up to my head. I don't go through that airport security where they fucking use that, you know, X-ray light thing that they're using. I don't go through that thing. I don't fuck with any of that stuff. I try to avoid that as much as I can, while all the time drinking way too much and occasionally smoking a cigar. So I'm the typical fucking hypocrite, where in this room I'm talking holier than thou, and then in the other room I'm a fucking devil. So I don't know. I recommend that people watch that stuff. You just take what you can from it. Maybe you think it's total bullshit and you keep on eating Twix bars and fucking, you know, whatever the fuck else you want to eat. You know, have at it. Whatever. It's your body. Put in it whatever you want to do. But I'm not going to be that person wagging your finger going, we need to stop these people. They're poisoning fucking people. You know, I let somebody else do that. Somebody else wants to fucking lead the march down the goddamn road. I'll be there. Will I? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, God, Henry Jackson would fucking slap me in the face with his powdered wig. All right, girl with no name. Hey, Big Balls Billy, I was in New Orleans for Jazz Fest last weekend, man, and I met an absolutely gorgeous girl. Wow, that's already a great story. Went to a music festival in one of the great music cities, probably the best music city in the goddamn country. Relax, Nashville. And you met a beautiful woman. That's awesome. I like this already. This is a movie I'm watching. First 10 pages, I'm in. We immediately hit it off last Saturday and had a phenomenal night together in the French Quarter. The next day, we exchanged numbers and said our goodbyes, as she lives in California and I'm in Florida. Uh-oh. This entire last week, we've been texting nonstop to each other, and I'm beginning to fall into the first stages of love with this gal. The problem is I do not remember her name, but she has used mine repeatedly. Oh, fuck, dude. We both enjoy jobs where we travel quite a bit, so we are planning on having a George Clooney / Vera Farmiga, I don't know, an up-in-the-air type relationship. We were planning on meeting up in New York on Memorial Day week. My problem is I don't know the best way to figure out what her name is. I feel like straight up asking her name at this point would make me come across as a total douchebag and risk jeopardizing the relationship. Dude, that means at some point in the French Quarter, you've already forgot her fucking name. Oh, God. Oh, my God. This is making me feel nervous. Also, I am afraid that continuing using pronouns as I have been will get me in trouble sooner than later. When this happened in the past, I would just tell the girl to add me on Facebook to get her name that way. However, I was forced to delete my Facebook account in my previous relationship, a move I am regretting more and more each day. And any help on a suave way I can attain this girl's name without coming across as a chauvinistic asshole would be much appreciated. As always, go fuck yourself. Well, there's nothing chauvinistic about forgetting the name. And why did you have to delete your account? What happened? Hell hath no fury. What did you do? Did you do something? Because I would just say, well, why don't you just add your account back up again? This is what you should... You already talked about it on Facebook? Just text her and say... Oh, no, you can't say, where's your account? It's under my name. This is what I would do. Oh, Jesus. I would add... This is what you fucking do. This is what you do. Just create an account under a different name, like your nickname or something stupid, you know? And you can just say like, I just think sometimes these social network things are a little invasion, an invasion of privacy. And just, oh man, I don't know, this is tricky. Should be like, well, just add me. It's under my name. Do you know what my fucking name is? Oh boy. All right, guys, we're going to need some fucking help on this one because I'm failing miserably. The only thing I can think is get back on fucking Facebook. But when you get back on Facebook, she's going to be like, well, why didn't you just go over and fucking add me? Is she on Twitter? Ask her what her Twitter handle is. There's got to be a way to do it through social media. I really feel at this point that I don't know that you can fucking ask her what her name is. It's too fucking long at this point to ask her what her name is. And also, to be honest with you, the fact that you had to delete your account, and you've done this before in the past, you sound to me like you're kind of out there crushing it. So I really don't feel too bad for you. And also, you probably, just from a couple of details in that, whatever the fuck you did, I don't know, dude. I mean, who the fuck did you date? Glenn Close? In fucking, you got cheese on your nose, whatever the fucking movie's called. The Attraction. Fatal Attraction, right? Who's kidding who, dude? You fucked around on the other girl, and then she just was saying you're a cheating piece of shit. That's what I'm guessing. And then you had to get off Facebook. That's what I'm guessing, right? So, you did that, you fucked her friend. Dude, fuck this other girl. What did you do? I want to know. I want the second installment of this. What did you do to get kicked off of Facebook? No, you had to take off your account because of a previous relationship. Huh? I can tell you right now, dude, I don't know what the fuck you did, but you're never going to be able to run for political office until you address this part of your life right now, sir. All right? But other than that, I would try to maybe somehow through fucking, oh, Jesus Christ. How do you do it? She's going to be fucking drunk rummaging through her purse when she goes in to use the bathroom. Ugh. Oh, God. You know, I would judge you if I hadn't done all of that, you know? All right, best athletes. Billy Boy, I tried that boxing workout that you talked about on the show. Run for 3 minutes, then rest for a minute. Oh, not run for 3 minutes. I said skip rope for 3 minutes, then rest for a minute for 12 rounds. Kick my ass. Thanks for the tip. In your opinion, what sport has the best all-around athletes? Best all-around athletes. You know, I don't know. I think they're all fucking amazing. I'll tell you, as far as physical condition, hockey players are. Have you ever seen? We were talking about that at Comics Come Home. I forget who said it. I want to give it the comic credit. I can't remember who it was, but it wasn't me. It was another comic who said that. Who says you never see a fat hockey player, and it's fucking true. And if you ever played the sport, you know why. You just don't. It's one of those sports where you're just burning so much calories. You have to be in such unbelievable physical condition that you. What is that sound? Was that a bird? There was a fucking bird outside making this weird noise every time I inhaled. I thought I had a problem with my chest. No, I heard it again. What is that? Is it the bed? Are you guys hearing it? Is it in my head? Am I losing my mind? Anyways, I don't know. Those UFC guys are fucking unbelievable. Boxers are unreal. I have no idea. Jesus Christ, what a shit show that fucking Pacquiao-Mayweather fight was, huh? Everybody's flipping the fuck out about that thing. Verzi's convinced it's fixed. Listen to the Verzi effect this week. He sits there going like, dude, you can see it. Like when Pacquiao puts his head down. I'm sitting there going, well, you don't think he put his head down during the press conference because everyone was bitching that they got fucked over on the fight and he was embarrassed? I don't think that automatically means that was fixed. But hey, I like a conspiracy like anybody. So anyways, all right, how the fuck do I get out of this? Let's just fucking go on to the next goddamn question. I'll read this thing. I swear to God, I think I'm making that noise when I breathe in. All right, in love with a lesbian. Oh, you fucking romantic fool. Hey, Bill, saw your show in Memphis, and I just wanted to say you fucking killed it. Thank you. I drove all the way from Arkansas and was stoked to meet you and get an autographed poster. Well, thank you. Anyways, I just wanted to get your take on my weird situation. There's this girl I've liked since I started grad school, and we've known each other for 4 years. She's fun, intelligent, kind, and in my eyes, at least, beautiful. Well, why'd you have to fucking qualify it there? Thing is, I found out early on she didn't play for the team. I thought she didn't play for the team. I thought she did. I was devastated. Soon after that, the woman she loved died, and she's still taking care of said woman's kids from a previous relationship. Since then, I've moved away. I've tried a bunch of things to try and get over her. You know, the usual shit. Gym, bury yourself in work, go after other ladies. I visited her intermittently in the past 4 years. Well, that's not good for you. And I can't seem to stop caring for her. Would love to hear what you would do if you were in my situation. Thanks again, and go fuck yourself. I think you just have to deal with the fact that you're in love with someone that's not going to love you, and you need to move on and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep going to the gym, bury yourself in your work. I wouldn't bury yourself in work. Who the fuck wants to work all the time? But, yeah, instead of going after other ladies, why don't you try to go find one that you have something in common with? All right? Like, if you had to make a list right now of somebody you were looking for to spend the rest of your life with, I don't think being a lesbian would be on that list because she's not going to get with you unless, I don't know, she feels like living a lie, right? But at some point, you know what I mean, she's going to go get her hair done. What would I do? I would have faith in the fact that the right person's going to come into your life. I would stop with the visits because that's just, you know, that's like going back and hitting the crack pipe. You know, you're fucking Charlie Brown trying to kick the football again. You fucking land on your back and you get back up. And what are you doing? You know, I would just, you know, I think if you want to fucking meet somebody nice, you have to start living a nice life yourself. You know what I mean? Like, what's funny is, you know, you see these dance clubs, beep, 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 beep. Nobody meets their wife or husband in there. You know? Fucking roofie central, you know? Everybody on fucking drugs and glow sticks. I mean, you just got a bunch of fucking, either immature or damaged people in there. You don't put a baby in that. You don't accept somebody's fucking goddamn baby batter. Oh, it's disgusting. You just, get the fuck out of there, okay? You don't meet your wife, in black light. I would, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in your 20s to actually meet a great person that you never really think of doing because you think you got to go out. You want to go out to bars. You want to do all that crazy shit, get it out of your fucking system. But if you actually, I don't know, join like some sort of league, play sports, or do some volunteer work or something like that, you're going to meet a great person, or a fun person. Just stay out of those stupid-ass fucking clubs that every mouth breather goes to. The kind of people that are going to get Brady a 2-game suspension for a cunt hair of a fucking unbelievable. Who the fuck weighs the balls? Can you guys just set aside your hatred for the Patriots? Can you just set that aside and then just sit there and on any fucking level as a fucking man admit to what the level of crybaby horseshit that is? Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. I'm trying to think of anybody that throws a ball that doesn't doctor it. Every fucking pitcher does. Every quarterback does. They scuff them up. They do all kinds of fucking shit to get them where they like it. Little English on the goddamn ball. They all fucking do it. Every goddamn one of them has got a fucking ritual of how they like their football. Do you honestly think that the reason why you didn't make it to the NFL was because the ball wasn't fully inflated? Dude, the next time you play a pickup game, why don't you let a little bit of air out of the ball? And all of a sudden, it'll magically go everywhere where you fucking want it to go. You'll be throwing like Tom Brady. It doesn't even fucking make any sense. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, my God. This will make you guys non-Patriot fans happy. Yeah, I will never get over this. If they fucking tar and feather him over this fucking horse shit, and then I want all of you cunts who support it, rather than being pussies on the fucking internet, come out to my show or whatever. You don't have to go to the show, just afterwards. I really want you to look me in the eye and present your argument as to why you really fucking feel that like gave him an advantage. I really want to fucking know why. Like what fucking advantage? And you'd be going against an impartial scientist because ESPN hired the person. And God knows ESPN is in the game of sensationalism. They didn't want that guy to fucking come up with a study that said it wasn't an advantage. They wanted it to say it was an advantage. And you know why I know that? It's because they're completely ignoring the fact that they had that study done on their own fucking network. Oh, I'll tell you, it bugs me, All right, dilemma. Your podcast... all right. So here's a dilemma for you. Would you rather spend a year in jail? No. Having to sleep in the same cell with a gay fellow named Mandingo Jones. Oh, Jesus. Is that the most hackiest fucking thing ever? Well, I tell you, I'd rather have a gay cellmate than a fucking angry straight one that wants to fucking... You just feel like the gay guy would be a little more gentle. He's been there before. He's got some technique. Gross. All right. Or would you rather become a piece of shit banker? Dude, that's not a dilemma. I'd fucking become a banker. Then I'd be a mole and I'd fucking rat everybody out. Even then I couldn't fucking rat people out. I'd just be going like, guys, remember David Spade's bit when he was imitating Michael J. Fox in Come On, Let's Not Rape This Girl in Vietnam, whatever the fucking movie was called. It was like, guys, what are we doing here, Sarge? Like that's what I would be, that guy. Although there's a part of me that would like to be sitting in on those meetings just to hear what they said. You know what I mean? How they present. Do they literally present it like, let's do something illegal? Or do they use other words where everybody just realizes what they're presenting is not exactly within the boundaries? And little gamesmanship in banking. I wonder how they feel like it, Although I got to tell you, 2008 was definitely Spygate when it was fucking, when it was fucking, whatever the fuck they did there when they artificially overinflated the prices of the house. This $40,000 house is worth fucking 90 grand. And you know what? You make $9 a month and you're qualified for a loan. Anyways, whatever, anti-Patriot fans. You want to fucking give a shit for Spygate? I'll take that all day long. They shouldn't have done it. It was cheating. They should not have done that. All right? It was a league-wide memo telling everybody to stop doing it, and the arrogant cunt continued to do it. I think he was guilty of arrogance. I think if he was actually cheating, I think he would have used something a little smaller than some giant news TV thing fucking standing right there on the goddamn sideline. But if you want to say it's that, then, fine. If you fucking guys want to act like your team does not do stuff to get a competitive fucking edge, think about all the guys who are barely in the fucking NFL. Barely in the fucking NFL. And if they fucking get cut, they're going to go to bagging goddamn groceries at a fucking Gelson's. Or even worse, a Vaughn's. Or a Roach Brothers, right? Or, they could maybe do a little something. Maybe grab a jersey here. Maybe put a little sticky stuff on their gloves. I'm not talking about roids here. I'm not talking about roids. All right? Brady got busted for doing steroids. Fine. Yes, you're cheating. All right? Absolutely. But if you're talking about little fucking, let's do a little this, do a little of that, each fucking play, if you're going to fucking call that cheating, I mean, you're really going to, you're going to fucking kill everybody in the league, I would say. That's what I would